Hey, everybody. Hey. I've always wanted to do this thing because I saw the word potpourri, and I always want to do something called potpourri, which is a bunch of anecdotes and stories picked from different times in my life. Some of you may have heard a little some of this in other parts. For sure, one story you haven't heard the whole thing in its entirety ever, but it's potpourri tonight. Potpourri right now. That's my little intro, okay? So check it out. I'm so glad that Kate, round of applause for Kate. I'm so glad that she covered something about working in a restaurant. Because my first little anecdote is about a time when I was hired to work as a waiter in San Leandro at a place called Horatio's. At the time, Horatio's was a fairly upscale restaurant, fairly nice down in San Leandro. But the thing was, they had a ship theme. It was a ship's theme. And we all had to wear these costumes, for lack of a better phrase. Had to wear these costumes, had to wear knickers, little, navy blue knickers that stopped at the knee, and these white socks. And we had to wear these black shoes with these big pirate-like swashbuckling buckles on them, and these uh, skipper or sailor type shirts with these red stripes, like Popeye the Sailor, hey Olive, hey Olives, like Popeye the Sailor Man type top with the big flap, almost like not unlike a little pimp flap, and a red bow. So we had to wear this crazy little costume. And I walk in one day ready to do my job at Horatio's as a waiter. And the general manager says, hey, Don, I need to speak to you in my office. Come on, talk to me in my office. And he says, have a seat. I'm like, can I just stand up? I'm about to start. He said, no, go ahead and sit down. It's like, Don, I want to talk to you about the enthusiasm behind your ahoys. When you greet the table, you're supposed to say ahoy, and you're not really giving it much. I'm like, I do it. I do it. He said, no, it needs more. And so now I can stand up and throw me a couple of hoys because we want to get this right. I'm like, really? He's like, now do it. So I stand up. He said, go ahead. I'm like, ahoy, man. He said, oh no, there's no man in there. There's no man. We need ahoy, and give me it with some oomph behind it. So I'm like, ahoy. He's like, you know what, Don, is missing something. It's lacking something. I think it's called commitment. Okay, Don, commit and give me an ahoy with some fire behind it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it to him. Here he goes. So I'm like, ahoy. He's like, that's what I'm looking for. Do that every time you greet a table. So I'm out there. It's like I'm gonna show him at every single table. I'm like, ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. And he's like, I didn't say go that far. Bring it down. Bring it down. So that turned back on him. Anyway, that's a little thing that happened, my ahoy story. But check this out. Years later, I got booked in Las Vegas. I was performing in Vegas for 30 days at the Frontier Hotel. And it was the hotel where Siegfried and Roy performed. But they gave us this experimental daytime comedy show, 6 comedians in the daytime doing stand-up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Bizarre time to have a comedy show, but we did. Anyway, I would rehearse in my hotel room. They gave us these incredible hotel rooms, and I'd be in my hotel room, and I had sound effects of different animals in my comedy act. So I'll be in my room one morning, like 11 o'clock. I'm practicing. I'm practicing my sounds, and I had this one bit about dogs, and the bit kind of went like, ladies and gentlemen, my impersonation of a dog barking from 3 blocks away. And I go, a dog barking from across the street. I say a pit bull in your face. How about that, right? So that was the bit. Anyway, I was practicing my bark. practicing in my room. I went out in the hallway and the maids were out there. And they kind of looked, I said, hey, how you guys doing? They're like, hey, okay, okay. And these two maids were in the hallway with their little carts. And I'm walking up the hallway and I hear them, one of them say to the other one, hey, Brenda, are you gonna do room 128? And Brenda said, I ain't going in there. There's a German Shepherd in there. I ain't going in there. Right. And I was like, oh my God, look at them tripping. They're scared. They're all scared because they think it's a dog, but it's me. Right. So I go to my show. I'm like, look at them tripped out, all terrified. Right. So I go to do my show in the afternoon. And every day after I show, the hotel had a big spread for us, a big spread in the dressing room. They had, fine wines and sandwiches and different kind of food and sliced cheeses and all this stuff. But I never, ever had any of it the whole time I was there. The whole time I was there. Because people would say, hey, Don, you coming with us? Come on, we're going to go back to the green room and eat. Come on. And I'm like, I'm not going back there. There's white tigers back there. I'm not going back there. Because Siegfried and Roy had a whole show there. I kept every day I'm thinking like any day, like they're going to hop out from around the corner. It's not going to be a good moment. So I did not ever enjoy the wonderful feast. So check it out. This is a throwback story. My father, as you guys know from East 14, Donnie, baby, check this out, right? My father and mother, when they got dressed to go out, it was a big event. And my father made it even a bigger event because he would lay all of his clothes out on the bed in detail. The pants, the shirt, the jacket, the shoes at the bottom of the pants. And the most important thing, the coup de grace, was the hat. He had to have the hat. The hat was the top off of the whole thing. So one day my father's getting ready and he says to my mother, listen here, all right? I'm going out tonight with the fellas and you ain't going. I'm going out by myself. My mother's like, oh, is that right? So I'm not going. Okay, right? My father said, that's right. So my father's in there getting ready, listening to music. Back then, boom, 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 boom. Oh, sugar pie, honey bun. You know that I love you. I can't help my ooh. And he's getting ready. He's like, Donnie, baby, I'm gonna kill him. Look at the sky blue, baby blue pants. Look at the shoes. Look at the way the shirt goes with that. And look at the hat. Don't forget the hat, right? So he goes in the shower and he gets ready, puts on his cologne, puts on his pants, shirt, belt, jacket, and he can't find his hat. He's like, where's my hat? Where's my hat? Where's my hat? He walked in the living room and my mother was standing in the living room with his hat, just looking at him, right? He's like, what you about to do? What you about to do? My mother took the hat, put it in the chair, and she sat down on it and just scrunched it like, and got up and sat down on the couch. My father went in the back room, took off his whole sky blue outfit, put on his pajama pants and a t-shirt, and sat down next to my mother, a broken man. Without the hat, he was nothing. The end of that story. My father always had some interesting stories to tell me, though, things that happened to him when he was younger, right? So one time my father said, there's a guy named Dalboy. You might remember Dalboy, the bully from my father's childhood when he's like 10 years old. The guy's name was Dalboy, and he was an ass. Always, slapping my father beside the head, punch him in the chest, kick him in the ass in front of girls. That was Dalboy's thing, right? Just always creating problems. And my father was always plotting to get back at him. My father always did get back at him, right? So one day, my father said he was walking with the bully Dalboy. They're friends, but he would be bullying him all the time. They were going to the laundry. And my father said, back then, you carried your laundry on your head, like back in Africa, right? You carry your laundry on your head down to the laundromat, wash it, bring it back. So he's walking, boom, 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 with Dalboy. And the whole time, Dalboy's like thumping his ear, punching him in the chest, kicking him in the ass. My father's trying to balance the laundry. Like, what are you doing, man? Right? And he's trying to plot, how can I get back? How can I get back? How can I get back? So they go, my father washes the clothes. He's heading back home, and Del Boy's stuffing him in the ear, kicking him in the ass, punching him in the side while he's carrying the laundry. Like, Del Boy, stop, man. Cut it out, right? So my father got an idea. He got an idea. He said he took the laundry down off his head and he bent down to tie a shoe. So he tied his shoe, and while he tied the shoe, he placed a rock inside the laundry and put it back up on the top of his head. So he's got the laundry and he's got the rock in there. And he's walking, Delway's kicking him, punching him. So my father said he went up. They were walking near some train tracks. My father went up because the train tracks were built, rocks, and then the rails. He said he went up this little incline and was up top, up there. And Dad Boy's on the bottom, just hanging out. My father said he timed it out just right. And he got the rock and hit Dad Boy, pow, in the back of the head on an angle, like, oh, right? And Dad Boy was like, and fell down on the ground. Oh my God, somebody hit me in the head with a rock. What the hell's going on? My father said he went down on his knees and was attending to him, going like, oh, that's messed up. I can't believe somebody did that to you. But that's what he did. Pow, got Dad Boy in the head with a big ass rock. The cartoons, right? So check it out. My father had odd stories he'd tell me. And one of the stories he told me while he's getting dressed, and just like an odd thing I just wanted to mention, my father said, I'm going to ask you something, baby, okay? If somebody was asleep and somebody punched him in the jaw as hard as possible, would they wake up and then pass out? Or would they go deeper in the shit they already in? Think about that for a second, all right? That totally trips me out. Okay, so check out this story. When I was really young, I guess maybe when I was 8, 9 years old, I would watch like shows with doctors on them, and I always thought like, hey, maybe one day I would be a doctor. I thought about it, and so in the 10th grade, I was in my biology class, and my biology teacher, his name was Dr. Bandar. And Dr. Bandar was this wild guy. He had wild hair, but very interesting science teacher. And he taught biology. I'm in the 10th grade, right? And I'm in that, at that time, I was in Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? And I was very trying to be as scholastic as possible, but I wasn't doing that well in that class. Anyway, the very first day, Dr. Bandar walked in, 30 students sitting there, right? Everybody's sitting there. And he walked up and he placed a glass jar of crickets on the table. He opened it and put one in his mouth. He said, this is going to be a very interesting class. I'm like, oh, it definitely is going to be a very interesting class, right? So Dr. Bandar was enthusiastic, though. He's enthusiastic. Okay, here's what we want to do. We're talking about green chlorophyll. We're talking about chlorophyll today. He'd be like acting it out and way into it. Very enthusiastic teacher. But I wasn't doing that great. I was doing pretty good on the cell stuff because I was drawing the cells pretty good. He's like, metaphase, today anaphase, and he'd be all excited and stuff. But I was getting C+ at the best, and my drawing's the only thing keeping me kind of in the mix. So at one point, we had an anatomy test. And for some reason, I took to it like a fish to water. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. And I did incredibly well on the anatomy, learned every muscle and bone in the human body. And for the first time, he would always put the highest score, the test, on the board. And everybody could pick theirs up from the bottom on a table, but whoever had the best score. I walked up and it said, Donald Reed, A+ on anatomy. Physiology, same thing. I got caught up in like, I kept thinking, that's right, I'm gonna be a doctor. And I got like blades in my head. I'm gonna be a doctor. So now at some point I move over with my father. I'm moving over there. And I tried to be cool, but cool wasn't working. So I stuck with my nerd perspective, is that I knew every muscle and bone in the human body. And it was blowing people in the hood's minds completely. They said, check this out. He know every muscle and bone in the human body. Hold on, let me focus. Where are you, man? Okay, there you are. I can see better on this angle. Look, he know every muscle and bone in the human body. Break it down. And Junebug, that was his real name, Junebug and his crew would encircle me, and I go down the human body. Orbicularis oculi, orbicularis oris, pectoralis major, deltoids, external oblique, biceps femoris, metatarsals. I was like breaking it, and they're like, oh my God, he knows it all. And the girl's like, oh my God, he all smart and shit. Okay, he gonna be a doctor. Okay. And I was excited. I was gonna be a doctor. I was into it. Boom. And I was telling family members and telling people they meet me. I'm like, I want to be a doctor. I'm gonna be a doctor. So I was in junior college. I entered junior college and I got in some pre-med classes and I hopped right in them and I was dedicated. Advanced classes in biology. I was doing really well. Like, I'm going to be a doctor. In the meantime, I was dealing with uh, being in speech classes and it was going well because I knocked on a hell of doors as a Jehovah's Witness. So I was killing it in them speech classes, right? But anyway, one day I'm walking across campus into the cafeteria. And there was this guy, dressed like Jesus Christ. Well, white Jesus Christ. If we really look into it, they said in the Bible that Jesus Christ's hair was like lamb's wool, which means he's like a brother or brown at the least. But anyway, he was a white looking Jesus Christ, right? With his hair parted down the center. And he had like a white robe on. He's walking like this. And he walked right up to me and he said, mucus. I'm like, huh? He said, your body is full of mucus. Show me your hands. I was like, okay. He said, look here. See, you cannot see the cuticle. If you can't see the cuticle, that means your body is full of mucus. I was like, oh God. He said, let's change your diet. Now, he was on the right track because I was really into some crazy eating avenues. I had this thing where I would buy a donut, put butter all over it, put it in the broiler so it would melt, and it'd be like a small little teeny swimming pool of butter. Gross, but delicious to me. I used to cut lawns so I could have my own toast. My stepfather, when I was living there, was like, no, no, you can't have all the toast in the world, boob. You're not doing that. So I would literally buy a whole loaf of Roman meal bread and make 8 pieces of toast at a time with butter and jelly. Anyway, maybe that's why I had the buildup in my body. So the guy's like, you need to be a fruitarian. So I got into being a fruitarian and I got locked into it. That's all I ate was fruits, no vegetables, no meats, no nothing, no proteins, just fruit only. And walking around with attitude, sucking on lemons. Yeah, you realize you're eating death, right? You realize that's death and this is life and I'm happy right there with that little attitude, right? And one Thanksgiving, I was sitting in my bedroom and everybody's sitting there ready to have the big Thanksgiving dinner with macaroni and cheese and sweet potato pies and all that. And I walked in, I didn't sit down. I was sitting there with my lemon in the doorway. Super judgmental. Can't believe you guys realized what that turkey went through before you ate it. Oh God, you're just disgusting. My father said, all right, boy. And I was sitting there looking at it, no protein in me at all, going like, withering away. Yeah, y'all ain't gonna make it eating like that. You ain't gonna make it. My father said, boy, you better get some protein in your body before you pass out, right? Eventually I did. But anyway, here I am, and everybody's still saying, Donnie's gonna be a doctor, Donnie's gonna be a doctor. I'm saying I'm gonna be a doctor, right? And I got into one of my classes, and they were talking about how they felt surgeons were too quick to do a surgery. And I got introduced to a homeopathic avenue of healthcare, being a chiropractor. So then I decided I'm going to be a chiropractor. That's what I'm going to do. I don't want to cut people up. I want to be a chiropractor. And so that was my goal. And I got in. They wanted they wanted you to take more speech classes if you're going to be a chiropractor, so you could defend, because they thought a lot of chiropractors were quacks. And so I took the speech classes. In the speech class, the instructor was going like, "You're really good at this speaking." Her name's Patty Keeling Haynes. She's like, "You're really good at this speaking. You might want to look into that." And so one day, my father announced that he was getting married again. So the second wife, we moved to a second wife's mother. So my step grandmother's house, she had 3 homes and she let us live in there. But my step grandfather lived there. He drank a lot. He's like, boy, you're going to be somebody. I'm telling you, you're going to be somebody. But one day I was downstairs. I was downstairs in the house and everybody started going, ah, ah, Donnie. And I knew it was serious. I knew this wasn't a joke. They're like, Donnie, come here. And they call me because I had presented this energy that I'm going to be a doctor. And they pull my step grandfather out of the bathtub. He'd passed out in the bathtub. And they laid him on the bed. And I turned him on his side and started getting a ton of water out of him. A ton of water was just coming out. Yeah, Donnie, do it, Donnie. And a lot of water kept coming out of his mouth. And then paramedics showed up and I stepped back and they worked on him. But they couldn't save him. They couldn't save him. And so they wheeled him out. And the funeral was in a few days. We had it pretty quickly. And there's this a friend of mine at the time named Lamont. He said, let's drink what your grandfather liked. We had all this Tanqueray gin. We drank all this Tanqueray gin. And I felt horrible the next day. One of the worst hangovers I ever had in my life. And I said, I got no business trying to be a doctor if I can't even save my own grandfather. And so I went back to school and I was in my speech class. And to this day, I don't think she ever even knew it. I don't think my professor, Patty Keeling, even knew that's what had happened during that window of time. That the doctor couldn't save his grandfather. But I was in class and she said, Don, you got a gift for speaking. I don't think you are supposed to be a doctor. I don't think you're supposed to be a chiropractor. I think you're supposed to be a comedian. I really do. I think you're supposed to be a comedian. And I started doing the humorous events and they went really, really well. And then I got recruited to UCLA. And then I started doing comedy, performing, acting, doing voiceover. They say laughter is the best medicine. I think it actually is. potpouReed. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.